I step into the corporate lobby, my shoes clicking against the polished marble, tension coiling tight in my chest. The fluorescent lights glare down, harsh and unforgiving, bouncing off every sleek surface, making me feel exposed. Behind me, Auntie moves with quiet confidence, her worn leather briefcase swinging lightly by her side, a stark contrast to the glass and steel modernity around us. She smiles faintly, serene, unshaken, carrying decades of unrecognized intelligence in that single briefcase. The receptionist barely looks up, muttering something about old-fashioned thinking under her breath. I hear it sharp and dismissive, and my stomach tightens. Across the lobby, 3 young executives in crisp, tailored suits whisper, their laughter slicing through the tension. "Is she really coming to advise us?" one asks. Their smirks are thin, predatory, designed to cut before I even speak. Auntie steps forward, polite and composed, her voice measured as she introduces herself. Their smirks widen, almost theatrical in their cruelty. Then Brad, the loudest and boldest, turns fully, mocking as he asks, "Are you even educated?" The words hit like a hammer. My stomach drops, heat surges to my face, my pulse hammering in my ears. Every heartbeat feels like a drum of shame. "Nasa," the CEO shifts uneasily in his chair, glancing between us, aware of the tension but unwilling to intervene. I notice Auntie's hands tightening around her briefcase. Not a tremor, not a flicker of doubt, just quiet, resolute strength. The executives start speaking faster, throwing technical jargon like weapons, trying to make her appear incapable, trying to gaslight everyone in the room. I can feel the weight of every silent judgment, every gaze heavy with unspoken disdain. Humiliation washes over both of us, sharp and cold. Auntie leans slightly toward me, whispering, her voice calm but intense. "Watch closely. They have no idea." I cling to the words, trying to draw courage from her quiet certainty. The meeting is scheduled, the dread coils tighter inside me. I imagine the embarrassment that could unfold, hear their laughter echoing in my mind. My chest tightens, the bitterness almost tangible on my tongue. And there I stand, powerless, or so I think, witnessing the sharp edge of disrespect aimed at someone I deeply admire, feeling the raw sting of injustice, unaware that this humiliation is about to become the stage for the most precise, elegant revenge I've ever seen. I remember the dim light spilling over Auntie's small kitchen table, papers strewn everywhere, a single lamp flickering as she bent over late into the night. Numbers, notes, scribbles, and worn notebooks. She was teaching herself finance, management, everything she needed to survive in a world that refused to see her. I watched her silently, too young to grasp the full weight of her effort, but old enough to feel the tension in the air, the relentless drive behind her quiet eyes. She raised me while juggling part-time jobs, sacrificing sleep, comfort, and recognition, mastering skills in secret that no one would ever acknowledge. Relatives mocked her mercilessly at family gatherings, calling her just a homemaker, dismissing her ideas before they were even spoken. I saw her bearing the brunt of their scorn with grace, yet inside, a storm of frustration and pain brewed. She quietly solved disputes in our neighborhood, negotiating solutions to business problems, helping local shopkeepers balance books, all without applause or acknowledgement. These small victories went unnoticed by the world, but I saw them, the silent proof of her capability. I remember the way everyone laughed at her, their whispers cutting sharper than any words, and how I feared she'd remain invisible forever. One memory cuts deeper. The day she cried alone in the kitchen after a humiliating conversation with a landlord who refused to acknowledge her competence. I felt that injustice like a punch in my gut, realizing how talent ignored could become invisible pain, festering silently over the years. I recall her first job interview, brilliant ideas dismissed as naive, her confidence bending under the weight of condescension. I absorbed it all, internalizing the judgments of society, learning patience and simmering fury at the same time. Her voice returns to me in memory, almost a whisper in the chaos, Respect is silent. Power is quiet. Those words became a compass, a shield, a strategy. I realized then that underestimation is not just an insult, it is a weapon, one that can be wielded strategically. I remember the lessons she taught without speaking: resilience in her posture, resolve in her gaze, the way she navigated betrayal from business partners who doubted her intellect, yet left her standing taller than they could imagine. Every humiliation I now see at that corporate lobby is tied to decades of unseen scorn. This is not just about today, it is about every quiet wound inflicted by doubt, every whispered dismissal ignored, every brilliance overlooked. And in that moment, watching her prepare to step into the room that mocked her, I feel a quiet, simmering determination settle inside me. To witness her triumph, to see the world finally reckon with the power it refused to recognize. The meeting begins and the room vibrates with forced confidence. Executives lean forward, smugly presenting the crisis. Plummeting sales, failed campaigns, deadlines that feel impossible. I clutch my notebook, fingers tightening around it like a lifeline, heart hammering against my ribs. Anxiety coils in my stomach, but I keep my gaze on Aunty. She sits silently, eyes sharp, scanning charts, emails, and presentations. Every detail they overlook, every assumption they take for granted, she notices. The executives laugh again, glancing at each other, underestimating her in ways that make my jaw clench. Their arrogance is thick, almost tangible, and I feel it pressing in on me from all sides. Brad leans back smug, interrupting with that condescending tone. Maybe you should leave this to the real professionals. The words sting, echoing in the room like a challenge. The smell of cheap coffee fills the air, acrid and bitter, heightening the heat of embarrassment and anticipation. Finally, Aunty speaks. Her voice is calm, deliberate, carrying weight that immediately commands attention. She begins to analyze the problem with surgical precision, breaking down the chaos into logical, manageable components. The executive's smirks falter ever so slightly. Subtle glances pass between them. Step by step, she outlines her solution, using clear examples, methodical logic, and measured patience. There is no condescension, only authority and clarity. Every word slices through the room's arrogance, leaving no corner of doubt untouched. One executive tries to corner her with aggressive questions, their tone sharp and challenging. She counters effortlessly, each answer precise, measured, leaving them scrambling for footing. I feel the room shift, their confidence cracks, their smug dominance giving way to unease. Aunty asks for minor data points, small confirmations she already anticipated. The room trembles subtly under her control, disbelief replacing laughter, whispers of uncertainty threading through the air. By the end of the meeting, the executives are defensive, their arrogance tinged with fear, their dominance quietly dismantled. I feel a pulse of pride, anticipation surging in my chest. Aunty moves like a quiet storm, dismantling their overconfidence with precision, proving in minutes what they thought they had the right to doubt. I watch, breath caught, as the power shifts imperceptibly yet irrevocably. She is in command, and I realize the humiliation they aimed at her has become the stage for her mastery. The room hums with tension when a sudden phone call cuts through the heated exchanges. The board chairman's voice, calm but commanding, fills the space, interrupting the executive's mid-sentence. My heartbeat races as I hear him say, "Her analysis is exactly what we needed." Shock ripples across the faces around me. The executives glance at each other, disbelief etched into their features. The power dynamic shifts instantly. Their confidence, built on mockery and condescension, begins to crumble. Aunty doesn't react with triumph. She doesn't smile. She sits composed, serene, letting the panic ripple through the room like a silent tide. I notice subtle gestures, the sweat forming at foreheads, fists clenching, voices faltering under the weight of realization. Brad makes a last desperate attempt, a snide remark aimed to reclaim some dominance. Aunty counters effortlessly, citing precise data, precedent and logic so sharp it leaves him fumbling for words. A colleague leans over to whisper, barely audible, "I can't believe she solved it in minutes." I feel the truth of that statement resonate through every nerve in my body. The air feels electric, charged with awe and disbelief. Every glance in the room is drawn to her, every whisper a testament to her undeniable authority. The CEO nods finally, decisively approving her plan, and I see the executive's facade of power crumble completely in contrast. Aunty turns her gaze toward me, her eyes steady, calm, and full of unspoken strategy. Patience, observation, execution. The words echo silently in my mind as humiliation reverses, injustice is acknowledged, and the long-awaited balance shifts irrevocably. In that charged, silent moment, I realize her power was never in shouting, never in forcing respect. It was in knowing, waiting, and acting at the exact right moment. And now, it has changed everything. The boardroom is filled with the hum of anticipation as Aunty steps forward to present her solution. Cameras capture every movement, every gesture, every calculated word, documenting the moment that will redefine the room's power. I watch the executives' faces turn red with shame, their forced composure cracking under the weight of truth. Sweat beads on brows, jaws tighten, and their eyes dart nervously as she begins to speak. She lays out their mismanagement, exposing every mistake with razor-sharp precision. Each error, each oversight is dissected methodically. Financial charts flash across screens, emails scroll, missed opportunities revealed in a sequence so cinematic it leaves the room breathless. I feel my pulse quicken as murmurs ripple through employees. Whispers of admiration for Aunty grow louder, spreading like wildfire, infecting even the most skeptical onlookers. Brad attempts to interrupt, a last-ditch effort to reclaim control. The CEO silences him instantly, the authority undeniable, and Brad falters, speechless. Aunty negotiates revised contracts, leveraging her intimate knowledge of operational weaknesses. She requests acknowledgement from every party, forcing them to publicly recognize what they had so arrogantly dismissed. I savor the visceral satisfaction of watching arrogance humbled without a single raised hand. Bonuses are reinstated, stock projections saved, and the company's looming bankruptcy evaporates, all because of her quick, precise thinking. Social media clips leak almost immediately. Uneducated Aunty saves company in minutes. The irony is electric. The same people who mocked her intelligence are now witnesses to her brilliance, immortalized for the world to see. Throughout it all, her composure remains unshaken. Her revenge is quiet, elegant, undeniable. I feel pride surging through me, a mix of vindication and awe, as decades of hidden talent are finally acknowledged, respected, and celebrated. I walk beside Aunty out of the office, the city light stretching around us, warmer, softer, carrying a sense of celebration that I hadn't expected. The hum of traffic and distant chatter feels lighter somehow, echoing the shift that just occurred inside those walls. Her phone buzzes constantly, congratulatory calls, messages of admiration, employees approaching cautiously, some apologizing, others thanking her with awe in their eyes. I watch her receive it all with quiet grace, a faint smile brushing her lips, but I catch the relief flickering in her eyes. There's a personal satisfaction I can't shake. Justice isn't always loud. Sometimes it whispers through the respect you see reflected in others, the subtle acknowledgement that someone finally understands your worth. Brad walks past us, avoiding eye contact, his earlier arrogance dissolved into shame. I note the weight of his embarrassment, the silent lesson of the day pressing down on him. The board publicly promotes Aunty to a strategic advisory role, her authority cemented, while the executives' reputations quietly suffer, their arrogance now a cautionary tale. I feel the release of long-held tension, humiliation replaced by recognition, years of dismissal finally corrected. Family and friends celebrate her brilliance, her hidden talents now illuminated and validated. I feel a wave of closure, a quiet triumph. This isn't just revenge, it's acknowledgement of her worth, her intelligence, and her perseverance. I linger on the pride swelling inside me, the satisfaction of seeing strategic patience, calm observation, and precise action triumph over arrogance and mockery. Auntie returns to her life with the same quiet dignity she always carried, respected now, yet unchanged in humility. The cinematic contrast is striking. The world applauds, yet her serenity remains intact, untouched by noise or distraction. As we fade into the evening, I feel the equilibrium restored, justice delivered quietly, perfectly, an elegant closure to the long, painful arc of underestimation and triumph. I stand on my balcony, the city skyline glowing beneath the soft evening light. A gentle wind brushes my face, carrying the hum of a city alive, unaware of the quiet triumph that has just unfolded. I turn to the camera, my voice low but steady, ready to recount the story that changed everything. The humiliation, the relentless patience, the brilliance that emerged when it mattered most. All of it lingers in my memory, sharp and vivid. I emphasize the lesson: talent ignored is never lost. Timing, composure, intelligence, they always win over arrogance. Split-screen footage plays. Auntie mocked in the meeting, her ideas dismissed, her intelligence doubted, contrasted with the undeniable brilliance of her solution celebrated publicly. I reflect on the growth I've witnessed, not just hers, but mine, too. Humility, patience, silent power, the strength that doesn't announce itself, but commands respect. I narrate how justice doesn't require vengeance. It requires only truth, courage, and the willingness to act when the moment is right. Close-up shots linger on her hands resting on the briefcase, subtle smiles curling at her lips, her calm composure radiating authority without a word. I reveal the mantra that guided her through years of dismissal: underestimate me at your own peril. The camera pans over emails, texts, and social media reactions, showing admiration pouring in from all corners, a world belatedly recognizing what was always there. I urge viewers to look around, to recognize hidden talent, to never dismiss the quiet ones. The cinematic sunset drapes the skyline in golden hues, soft music carrying the emotion as the story's weight settles. Some victories are not loud. They are precise, elegant, unforgettable. I fade out with a whisper: never judge what you don't understand.